I can't believe they let me speak in front of the entire high school. This is a big mistake. All right, so first of all, can we get one more round of applause for Eden, because 3 wasn't enough. All right, thank you. So yeah, good morning. My name's Nicholas. I stand before all of you today, near my 18th birthday, basically almost graduating from high school. I actually have 1 foot in the grave already, but that's another issue. But I want to tell you that our true education goes beyond textbooks and classrooms. It happens in hushed whispers in the hallways, loud nights out with your friends, and most importantly, running from the consequences of our actions. So my leg does this thing where it shakes. I don't know why, but we're just going to ignore it, okay? So now I'm sure half of you have already stopped listening, mainly because you realized I'm making this speech really generic to avoid giving myself a ton of work, which, I mean, everyone does. Not speeches, I mean, but you've all written essays. So I need you guys to refocus here just for a tiny second, because I'm about to say something really important. No, I'm just kidding. I'm only 17. I don't know anything. But you can zone back out while I tell this story about almost dying. It's probably not interesting. You can just turn to your partner, keep having that conversation about how much you hate a certain class, how much you loved that 8-hour Netflix binge last night that led to you being a zombie in all your classes today. If you are listening, it's fine. You really don't have to. After all, it's in my best interest for you not to hear this. Breaking the law is usually something you don't want to admit to a whole plaza full of people. Neither is almost dying, or potentially severely injuring someone, but I'm going to do all 3. So I know a little more than half of you can drive, which, you know, your time will come, but you just have to imagine with me, okay? Imagine the engine of your car, roaring with power. Imagine the landscape blurring by so fast that the only thing in focus is you and the road, and your friend in the passenger seat. Imagine the tranquility and peace. Nothing else matters but you and that car. Everything else falls away. Imagine the turn signals on the freeway, the stoplights on the highway, or stoplights on the streets, the beautiful screech of the brakes, the clang of metal as they lock, the millions of calculations per second being made by your vehicle to ensure your safety, the treads of your tires failing to catch on the asphalt. Imagine the airbags, the smoke, the temporary blackout, and your now unmoving friend in the passenger seat. Thankfully, my friend was moving to take his phone and stop the automatic SOS alert, watching the hope reignite in his eyes as he watches you stir from your ill-timed nap. As the sirens wail in the distance, a melody of consequences and a warning that you'll probably not enjoy the next couple days, the aftermath is irrelevant. It didn't matter how we tried to get out of the consequences of our actions. It didn't matter that the only thing everyone told us was that we were okay. It didn't matter that I was so busy checking my friend for injuries, I never realized my elbow was being burnt and devoured by airbag fluid, which, if you're not aware, is basically acid. I don't know why they put that in airbags, but... It didn't matter that the family of 4 was flipped so far away it took a marathon to go check the damage. Actually, nothing mattered, because I was just going to sit in my car, let the smoke fill my lungs, and just die, then and there, no matter how long it took. And then someone opened the door. No, it wasn't my friend. It also wasn't my angry mother, thank God. And no, it wasn't my guardian angel, because he was very clearly on break. But some random passerby did open the door. And since my engine was beyond repair, I could no longer run from the consequences of my actions. So I sat in a deafening silence, nodding my head at EMTs who arrived to tell them I was okay, nodding my head at the guy who told me not to tell the cops anything, and spoiler alert, I did tell them everything because they offered me Gatorade and I was really thirsty. The only relief I felt was watching the ambulance drive away from my crash completely empty. And then my mom arrived. Now, I don't know how many of you have almost died, but it's a really awkward conversation with your parents over the phone. Usually, the advised tactic is to avoid the conversation. Unfortunately, it wasn't an over-the-phone conversation, A, and B, I needed a ride for, obvious reasons. I was very quickly slapped out of my dazed state upon her arrival and received a large barrage of very mixed signals and messages that basically amounted to, "I'm so glad you're okay. Unfortunately, as soon as we leave, you will cease to be okay." So I let her handle all the talking, take me to an urgent care, get my burns lotioned up and bandaged. My friend was escorted home by my other friend. I have a lot of friends. When it was finally over, it was time for the traumatizing part, getting scolded by my mom. Finally, after that hour and a half, the same friend who escorted... Okay, hold on. So friend 1 was in the car, friend 2 escorted him home, and friend 3 was in Hawaii. All right, so... No, I'm serious. Friend 3 is important, guys. So Friend 2 drove to my house and checked up on me, gave me a birthday present, and left. Friend 3 also sent me my birthday present with a very heartfelt message that I still remember to this day. Hey, just crashing your birthday party, drive forwards. But even after all of this, I didn't really learn my lesson yet. No, I learned my lesson in the months after the jokes, after the entire ordeal had been settled. I was left completely carless. No more going out with friends, no more going to the store to satiate my caffeine addiction, none of that. Just me, in bed, during summer break, miserable. You can't run from that. Pages here. And so to end off this speech, I would like to modify my prompt a little bit, because I believe a lot of things, and I'm not going to let myself be limited to just one. I believe that being 5 minutes late is better than not getting there at all. I believe that nothing teaches us better than the consequences of our own actions. I believe the Shamrock Shake should be available year-round.
Yes!
However, most importantly, above all else, I'm running out of ways to say this, so I'll just say it. All right. So before you act, think about the possible consequences of your actions. Think about every way you can try and weasel out of them. Every person you'll affect. Every possible pro and con of your actions. And then think about the only thing that matters, the mandatory disclaimer I have to put. If everything goes wrong, worst case scenario, bottom of the barrel, ask yourself, does anyone get hurt? And I'm not talking like, oh no, he scraped his elbow. I'm talking like, he's got to go to the therapist for 3 weeks because, you know, they just can't talk about that. But, and if the answer is still no to all of those, I want you to triple check that list. And then quadruple check it. And then, I don't know what 5 is. So, if the answer is still no, then it's time to live a little, because you might as well see if you're right or not. And that, I believe,